Took some time to think about it. I'm still not sure about this, but I can honestly say the Nutcracker, this version of the movie, can be in the top 3 or maybe the top best or worst live-action Disney film I've ever seen. The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. This movie stars Mackenzie Foy, Keira Knightley, Morgan Freeman, and Helen Mirren, and that kid from Ready Player One. He plays the Nutcracker in this movie. And so this movie is the new version, or the 21st century kind of version of the Nutcracker. I did grow up actually reading the Nutcracker. In my elementary school, every Christmas in our music class, we would watch the original like tape version where the teacher had to flip the picture and it would change frames and a narrator would talk to us. Like I grew up watching that. So I'm not like a diehard Nutcracker fan, but like, I mean, I know the story. I know she goes to her godfather, or her godfather's house on Christmas Eve. He gives her this thing, gives her the key, whatever, and she wakes up and it's like she's a tiny little person. She wakes up with a Nutcracker, comes to life, and then the rat king attacks them. They kill it. They go in this imaginary world, and it's like a ballet. And I fairly, as you can tell, I fairly remember the story. But I can tell you that this version definitely doesn't hold that story up to great points of view. This movie to me was a garbage movie. I can't deny it. I really wanted to walk out. There are certain things in this movie I just can't really get into because it involves spoilers, but I will say this. Positives first off. The costumes are fantastic. Just the costumes, they're great. The production design, when there is production, looks great. The makeup looks great. Mackenzie Foy, she was actually Interstellar. It took me the longest to think of where she came from. My mom was like, oh, she's from Twilight. I was like, oh. And I was like, oh wait, she's Interstellar. And I was like, it's Murph. Like, she's fine in this movie. She is fine. She does her part. I thought the kid who plays the Nutcracker, he had moments, but damn is he in this movie, the Nutcracker is in the movie like that much. Like, he is so forgotten in this movie, and he's the Nutcracker. I'm like, dude, you can tell you're a good actor, but dang, they give you nothing to do. So, what else positive in the movie before I get on the negatives? Helen Mirren is evil. She's an evil rat queen who controls rats. Yeah, this movie really sucked. I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's just not a movie not for me, or just, yes, this is a kid's movie, but is it a kid's movie? Because I'm telling you right now, there are going to be scenes in this movie that kids walk out crying to. There are some terrifying scenes. I'm not going to lie. There are some terrifying scenes for some kids in this movie. And I'm gonna tell, if my mom and someone asks me who has a kid and they say, hey, this is a good kids movie, and they're a really young kid, I'm gonna warn them. I'm going to warn them. I work at the theater. If someone asks me and I'm about to sell them this ticket and they say, is it good? I'm gonna say no. And if they say, is it good for kids? I'm gonna be like, it can scare them. I'm going to admit that. This movie doesn't know what it is. And my God, Keira Knightley, she is such a good actress. She was terrible in this movie. I don't know if it was what they gave her. I don't know if it was like the directing told her to do this. But she talks like this the entire movie. And she was annoying, and she was just a cartoon. I didn't care for her. Morgan Freeman, he's a cartoon. He's Morgan Freeman, though. I mean, he's got an eye patch. I know that. They also add this storyline with her mom in the very beginning with the key and everything, and her entering this world. And the CGI, there are scenes where the CGI looks good. There is some god-awful green screen. I mean, terrible green screen where a character is walking through a forest and the background is CGI. You can totally tell it's CGI, and it's awful. There is some terrible CGI. I'm like, this is Disney. How do they watch this and say, that's our final product? I mean, they freaking own everything. I think they can get better CGI for the Nutcracker. But overall, I don't know if the movie was just not for me, but for me personally, I thought it was boring. There was no interesting characters. The storyline is so predictable. There was no magical moment or like that. It does have good music notes from the original ballet, what kind of stuff like that. But overall, I thought it was a mess of a movie and totally just not like a kid's movie or is an adult movie, because adults won't like it. Kids are too scared of it. I don't know what this movie is. I really don't. But I know that it is a D+. The Nutcracker is a complete disappointment. I don't know if I really can say disappointing because I wasn't really looking forward to it. I just wanted to see it and get the review out, and guess what? It's pretty bad. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, guys.